Yeah, we have to go over to Urban Politics TV to tell you this story about a young man who was struck by a police cruiser and unalived, and the police failed to tell his mother that he had passed for 6 months. You understand what I'm saying? 6 months. They didn't tell her nothing. And he had a prescription bottle in his pocket with his address, name, and everything on it. And their investigation says it was no foul play. Let's go and hear this story.
A mother was left in the dark after searching for her son for almost months with no information on where he could be.
Now she finds out he was killed the same night she last saw him. 3 Inside's Nathan Lee has her exclusive interview. Nathan?
172 days is how long Betterstein Wade has waited until she was told by a detective her son Dexter Wade was killed just 4 blocks from her home. This comes after she reached out to his friends, Jackson Police Department, and multiple detectives. Wade filed a missing persons report on March 14th, 9 days after she last saw Dexter. She would not receive any information on her son until August 24th. That was when a detective told her that Dexter was killed by a JPD cruiser while he was walking on the interstate. Wade was also told that her son was buried at the Pomper Cemetery before she knew where he was or if he was alive.
I gave y'all all opportunity in the world. I mean, if they didn't even do it the 14th, before they even put him in the ground, they had the opportunity to come to my doorstep and say, Miss Wade, we getting ready to bury your son. I had to buy him back from the state. I had to pay $250 just to get his body rights back.
Wade says they will be moving Dexter's body from the Pomper Cemetery.
So this whole way that this case was handled is incredibly fishy, to say the least. He got a name and prescription bottle with his name and address on it. You don't contact this lady. She filed a report 9 days after he was missing, right? But he was struck by a police cruiser, and y'all found no foul play. And then after all of that, this mother has to buy her son's body rights back from the state. Y'all couldn't even grant her that? But let's go to Big Ant, the spokesman, to get deeper into the facts surrounding this case.
The write-up says this: for 172 days, Betterstein Wade left no stone unturned in searching for her 37-year-old son, Dexter. She asked neighbors, searched abandoned houses, called detectives, and posted messages on social media begging him to come home. Dexter would never see those messages. He was killed on the night of March 5th after being struck by an off-duty police officer driving along I-55 South. Wade questions why it took so long for the Jackson Police Department to tell her about her son's death. She found out in late August, months after she filed her initial missing persons report. She also questions what happened to the officer involved. An officer comes to tell me he killed somebody on the freeway, and I'm just going to sign off on it. She asked, I don't have any information on what happened, what you did, or nothing. Every job I worked at, I had an incident on the job. I had to explain why.
And that's just ridiculous in of itself. So you unalived a man with your vehicle, walking on the interstate, right? It's so many questions happening as I'm hearing what happened. And then you don't give no detail, ain't no report on what you did and how this led to be. Ain't no cam, ain't no body cam or nothing. Ain't no dash cam. They got the dash cam too. All right.
Wade says she filed her missing persons report on March 14th, days after the Hinds County Coroner's Office was able to officially identify Dexter's remains. When police stop you, the first thing they do is go run your name, she said. They tell you your address, everywhere you lived, everything. Why didn't they run his name or take his handprints to know who he was? Wade previously filed a wrongful death suit against JPD in connection with the death of another family member, her brother George Robinson. That suit is still pending in Hinds County Circuit Court. In July, Judge Deborah Gibbs recused herself.
Oh, so now it's starting to make sense. They already got a pending case of foul play to do with their family. So when you see that this is her son that comes across the radar and he got unalived by the cruiser. Oh, let's just move this right along. Or let's just purposely not let her know what's going on with her, due to animosity, allegedly, or whatever it is. But it's starting to make sense now.
Meanwhile, criminal charges against two of the officers involved in Robson's death were dismissed. Another officer, Anthony Fox, was sentenced to 5 years in prison in August 2022 after being found guilty on culpable negligence manslaughter. Several agencies, including the Mississippi Attorney General's Office, the FBI, the USA Attorney's Office, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, the Clinton Police Department, and the JPD, say Fox's conviction should be reversed. According to an NBC News investigation, an investigator with the coroner was able to officially confirm Dexter's identity and determine his next of kin by March 8th. For her part, Wade says coroner's office officials told her they knew who Dexter was on the night his body was brought in. All the time I was calling and wondering where he was down in the morgue. Had a name on him, she said. I know they just couldn't miss that. Prescription bottle aside, she believes that because Dexter was a convicted felon, his fingerprints should have been on file. Dexter did multiple stints behind bars, getting out of prison the last time back in 2017. After that, Wade said she noticed a change in her son, who was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. When he got out on his medication, he stopped, like going places and doing things. She said he was basically at home all the time, selling little knickknacks, selling little freeze cups and little potato chips. Through collaborative efforts, they were able to close the missing persons case by identifying Dexter Wade as the pedestrian who was killed. She said, while in this very, very tragic and unfortunate accident, our investigation found no malicious intent by any Jackson police staff. Coroner Sharon Grisham Stewart was unavailable for comment. Wade now hopes to give her son a proper burial. She recently visited the county's paupers burial ground, where NBC News says she was able to see her son's grave for the first time.
So as you can see, it sounds like it's a lot of foul play involving this case. They obviously, the police department, allegedly have some animosity or some dealings with this mother because of her pending wrongful death suit against the police department with her brother. So it seems that obviously when it came to her son being hit by a police cruiser, why was he hit by a police cruiser? What was he doing on the interstate to get hit by a police cruiser? Walking, you know what I'm saying? It was like, what? And why would you go 6 months without letting her know that he had passed and you had buried him and this kind of it's too much surrounding the facts of this case that are sketchy, fishy, and just sound like downright disrespectful to me, because they say he had a prescription bottle in his pocket with his name, his address on it, and everything. So there's no way you could have not let this mother know that her son had passed. Now it just seems like you're being vindictive, or, from whatever case that was pending or whatever. And some of the people in the case were convicted, others were not. But it's a lot to get into. But what I do want to say is, man, the police, like, what y'all supposed to be about justice for the people, man. And if you got people in the police department that are foul, this is where it gets weird, because y'all don't want regular citizens to throw the flag on y'all, right? Because when we throw the flag, y'all go into protect each other mode. And when you protect each other, people in there stealing, killing, doing foul stuff, then you expect the people not to look at the police force as a whole as something that's shiesty or not for the people. We understand that all of y'all ain't bad, but we also know that you understand that if it was your family member being done wrong and the police force as a whole started to put up this curtain where you can't see, or started to change facts and do little shifty stuff to make it look like they weren't responsible, what would you say then? So you can't just leave the people out here in the streets like we're blind to see what's going on. And we're not trying to condemn the whole police forces of the world, because we know we need y'all as well. But y'all got to stop protecting the bad apples that are in your organization. Because it just, this is terrible, man. And it makes people get tired of police as a whole. But this your boy P. Cam. Let me know what you think, what you don't think. Get at your boy.